guys, so today I'm going to be doing both my April and May wrap-up video. If you guys noticed, I have not been hugely active on my channel lately. There's just been a lot of stuff going on in my life, a lot of stuff at work, a lot of stuff just in general, and I haven't been doing a ton of reading or filming or editing or uploading, as I'm sure you can see. So please know that I do plan to start uploading regularly again. I have 3 more weeks at work and then I'm going to be off for 6 weeks. So I definitely plan to be doing a lot of reading, a lot of filming, a lot of uploading during that time. So the reason that I'm doing April and May is because I didn't film an April video. I only read 2 books in the month of April and it just didn't seem like worthy of filming a video about. And then I only read 2 books in the month of May. I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. Sometimes you have a slow reading month, it happens, but you know, I ended up reading books that I really did enjoy, so it all worked out in the end. The first book that I finished in April was Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead. This is the 6th? Yes. This is the 6th and final book in the Vampire Academy series. Can't say too much about it because again, it's the conclusion of the series, but I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you don't know, it follows a young woman named Rose Hathaway and her best friend Lissa Dragomir, and they attend an academy made specifically for vampires, and Rose is Lissa's guardian because Lissa's a part of this ancient race of royal vampires, and there's just like, there's so much, there's friendship, there's love, there's humor. It's really good all around. And I'm so glad that I finally completed the series. This was years in the making and it was really, really good. I'm thinking about continuing on with Bloodlines, maybe not immediately, but I'd definitely like to know your guys' thoughts on that because I've heard kind of mixed things about it. So if you think I should continue, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. But yeah, I ended up giving this like 4.5 or 5 out of 5 stars. It was really good and I love the series. The next book that I read in April is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is the first book in the Falling Kingdom series, and this is another series that is a long time in the making. Everyone has told me I need to read this. The story follows a cast of characters who live in this very epic, vast fantasy world, and it follows several different points of view. Some are princesses, some are princes, some are merchants, and the way that they all become entangled is through an unfortunate murder that sets off basically a war between all these lands. I will say that I wasn't like hugely over the moon impressed by this book. I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars just because there were so many things that were very familiar. Like there were scenes that I was like, I feel like I've read that before. Not to say that this was like copying anything. It felt very familiar in that way, and there were not a lot of surprises. I pretty much predicted everything that was going to happen, but it definitely picked up and it left off with a really good conclusion, and I do feel like I have the potential to really enjoy the future books in this series, so I'm definitely going to continue. I really would love to finish all the books in the series before the next book comes out. I think that comes out in like November, so hopefully I can do that this summer. The next book that I picked up was a book that I read in May, and this is Girls on Fire by Robin Wasserman. And I'm not going to go into detail about this book because I did do a full review, but I will say that it takes place in the early 90s and it follows 2 teenagers who become friends, and their relationship becomes very obsessive, and they become friends around the time that a murder has taken place in their town. So it's very dark. There's grunge, there's goth, there's like all these great political and pop culture references that were really fun to read about. I just thoroughly enjoyed this book. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And again, if you're interested in hearing more, I will link both my video and Goodreads reviews below. The final book that I finished in May is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book has been on my TBR for a while. It came out last year, so I am sure you're all aware, but if you are not, this story follows a young woman named Farah, and Farah is the sole provider for her family. Her family is very poor, her father is crippled, her sisters are useless, and she hunts, kills, and prepares the food for her family. She is their provider. But one day she comes across a wolf in the forest and she kills the wolf, quickly to find out that the wolf was actually a fairy, which is something she did suspect. But in this story, the people in her town are very prejudiced against fairies because in this series there was a war between the humans and the fairies, so you do get an idea of, okay, it kind of makes sense why they hate them so much. But Anyway, one day a fairy lord comes to her house and says that she has to come with him and live with him because that is part of the treaty. That is something that has to happen now that she has killed another fairy, and everything just takes off from there. Obviously, Farah and Tamlin, the fairy lord, become a thing. It's not a spoiler. That's like what this romance is about. And one of the things that kind of bothered me about this book was the romance. Actually, that was probably the biggest part that bugged me. It just didn't seem believable. I thought it was very insta-lovey, and I felt like a lot of the times the kind of basis of the relationship laid in like manipulation and like possession, and I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. And Farah as a character, there were times when I really liked her, like in the beginning, how she provided for her family. It was very admirable, but she did a lot of things that were very reckless and stupid just for like the sake of doing them. Like, she was fully aware that they were stupid and that she shouldn't do them, but she did them anyway, and just there was a lot of inconsistencies in her character, and that annoyed me a lot. I also thought that the world building was kind of sloppy. This isn't a very big book, and you didn't get a lot of backstory or a lot of like fae lore, and I've never really read a fairy story before, so I was really like anticipating that. I really wanted that, but I didn't get it, so that was kind of disappointing. It took a good 70% of the book and for me to really get into it, which happens a lot in first books for me. That's really common. So I did end up enjoying it, but I did take off 1.5 stars because of kind of the slow development. But overall I gave it 3.5 stars because the ending was really good, and I have heard nothing but good things about the sequel, so I'm definitely going to be picking that up soon. Alright guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. In the comments below, I'd love for you guys to let me know what you've read during the past couple of months, because again, I have been MIA. I haven't been talking a lot to you guys, so I definitely need to catch up with you. I'd also love to know if you guys have read any of these books and what you thought about them, if you liked them, if you didn't like them. You guys know the drill. Alright guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one.